everyone, and welcome back. Well, we're getting to kind of the heart of a big dilemma, because it would seem to me, when you're going through the normal 218 process that I've normally covered here, you're from ACES, so ACES has that. We've had water and sewer rates, City of Jackson. Mike Daly was just in. He's concerned about their water rates going up as well in a 218 process there. And most of us understand the 218 rate. If I'm one of your customers, then I have I get to weigh in on that. And it seems like you had followed that part of it. To me, like, remember, I'm not strictly on this, but I do see it from a larger area where you send out 7,000 letters to your customers. You only get 2% back. Roughly, you said 91. That's a small amount. So it would seem most people say, hey, they're doing all they can. They say they're not going to raise it a whole lot. So I guess it seems to be okay. Maybe,
temporary.
So it would seem like you don't have much of an issue there. It would just seem like you would go ahead and do what the agency, and it would seem the customers would think the right thing to do. I don't want to take up all the time, but now I'm just saying, so I'll let you guys talk, but I just want to kind of get maybe clear of the way that I, as an outsider, just almost first hearing about it, would look at it, would say, but now the county, it could go county-wide, and I live in the county, I live in Pine Grove, but I don't get water from you, but now I can weigh in on...
The referendum, to get the referendum on the ballot requires 10% of last year's voters. And I think it was 12,000 last year. So 1,200 signatures can get this put on a ballot. And then it is a vote of the entire county on this water issue.
Okay, and that would be what you were proposing doesn't change? I mean, you already kind of have a proposal that you had offered when you would put this out to a 218 process?
Yeah, we're not changing anything.
So this isn't the 218 process. This is a referendum process, countywide, that is your big concern.
Correct.
The possibility, there are individuals gathering signatures now.
Okay.
And we hope they don't get enough because we don't want to have to go through the process, but it's possible that they may.
Okay, so I don't know what the cost is. Do you know, does anybody here look at the
Elections
cost
Department
of that
said
election?
up to $100,000 for a special election.
So this would need to be in a special election because it needs to be done at that?
We don't know yet whether it's going to go on the general election. It's a timing factor that I'm not quite sure, but we'll either go on a special election or the general.
Do you, the water agency, feel you have enough time with your revenues on a decline to wait for this?
Well,
that's a good question. I'm not sure about timing.
Okay.
The change that, again, this was proposed, you mentioned the 7,000 letters to our customers with a 45-day comment period, 91 protested out of 7,000. So the board went ahead and approved this temporary charge because of the drought and the emergency conservation order from the governor. But when the governor lifts that and says that the shortage of water is over, then that almost automatically will be terminated.
Yeah.
Right, it would seem like that because people would, be able to use more water, and revenues would go back to what the Amateur Water Agency needs.
Well,
there might be some changes. Issue. It might be your lawn's dead, so you don't need to water it. So who knows? There's always going to be things happen, but you at least you're not forced to.
It's going to take a long time to recover the revenue that has been lost.
Okay.
Even if there is not a referendum and the rate adjustment goes on as long as the government declares a drought, but it's going to take a while to recover the revenue.
And our reserves are about down to zero.
Right.
So, I mean, this is a difficult or a dangerous situation too. If we had some big crisis, a great big,
Well, I hear your concerns, and in fact, you ran for them. I'd like to say that you ran, you accepted this responsibility to look out for people's water needs.
I didn't know, Tom.
I was going to get this rough, right?
I didn't know.
I'm just saying. So, you were charged with that, and you've been elected to
it's not
handle
easy.
the tough spots.
It's not easy because I'm involved in other issues besides water, so I understand that the average in Amateur County there are many people on fixed incomes.
Sure.
I get that and I understand that, and we all do it as the board. But it's the dilemma that we find ourselves in. We need a certain amount of revenue to run the agency, as you require in your home, and we all do, and others do. When that revenue goes down, something has to be done. If you can cut expenses, you do. We've cut down to the bare bone. So we don't have a choice.
I don't think you guys have a big food budget there that you can cut into. Where that's where most people can make any little cuts.
No, and by the way, this board labors over any expenditure. It truly does.
Okay. Well, I would feel that, I want to say, it would seem to me that your customers realize that, and it sounds like that coming back in when you're going along with this 218 process. So I would imagine the concern is you would like for the people that aren't your customers that really don't know what's going on, because I don't use you. I certainly know the water agency. I think you do a great job. I'm not blind to it, but it seems rather strange that I would even be chiming in for this. I'm not quite sure why I'm allowed to, but I guess it's my political right.
It is your political right. And what we would ask is if people would like more information to call us. You can go to the website. You see us on the street, which I'm sure Rich does too. People see us on the street, they ask us. We're glad to answer any questions. But we hope that if it gets to the ballot, that they support the water agency.
Okay.
I'd just like to say that, if the drought continues, I hope it doesn't, for another year or two, and we don't make this change, or if our temporary increase for the drought gets reversed, and we are looking at bankruptcy, other water agencies in the state are run by private companies that are entitled to make a profit.
Really? Right. Let's go there. If this fails, in other words, if the county weighs in, no, you can't do this. There's possibilities of bankruptcy.
Well,
or
I can remember in 2010 when it was teetering on the verge of bankruptcy, and the CPAs told us that, we started to ask questions. How do you do a bankruptcy? Can you do a bankruptcy? Yes, you can. We hope it won't. It may not. We hope it doesn't. But it may get to that point where we really then have to consider it. Now, if it goes into bankruptcy, then you're in the hands of judges.
Right. Okay.
So rates could go up there, or the agency, I suppose, could be turned over to a private company. Like I said, they would be authorized to make a profit, whereas it's illegal for us to make a profit. We're a public agency.
And I'm hesitant to talk about bankruptcy because someone might get the impression that we're saying that to put fear in their hearts.
Well,
but that's not it. But that is a legal business maneuver that the water agency may have to use.
Well, I would guess if we're saying you're coming to here and you're saying we need more rates because we need the money to operate. If you run out of money to operate, if TSPN runs out of money to operate, I either close the door, bankrupt, do whatever options I have, and we have to look at that as you need to look at those things as well. Also, we're talking about a very iffy sort of thing, because if we get more water, if the drought goes away, and not just rain, we need snowpack.
Yeah. So if, let's say, if the drought continues, and the governor comes out with like another emergency order of like 35% instead of 25%, if that happened, we would really be in trouble.
Yeah.
So trying to foresee the possibility, this action is a temporary charge on just the water usage, and it will be eliminated as soon as the governor declares the drought over and removes that emergency conservation order. So it just seems like a wise thing to do, and the board is asking people, if they're approached with this petition, not to sign it. Because
So you are two members of the board, so why don't you go ahead and look at that camera right there or whatever, Paul, and make your plea to the people of the county that aren't
I'll start
users.
it, and you can, we hope that all of you who are out in the public, if you're approached by someone to sign that petition, that you take your time, you don't sign it there. and you find out both sides of the story, because they will only give you their one side. And if it gets to a point where it's on a ballot, we hope you would support the water agency.
Rich?
Rich?
Again, this is it's a temporary action to avoid a financial crisis. It's a surcharge on the water usage for a person that cuts back the 25% requested by the governor. That their bill is only going to change, maybe go up a few cents, 10 cents, 15 cents a month. It's not significant, and it's temporary. As soon as the drought emergency is over, it will be eliminated.
Okay, and we're going to leave on that, and hope we informed you and make a wise decision. Thanks for watching TSPN. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you, Tom, for having us.